This is CBN NewsWatch.
It is Monday, April 22nd. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ephraim Graham. We begin with the calls to impeach President Donald Trump growing louder over the weekend. Democrats and the president's offenders are at odds over key parts of the Mueller report. The 448-page document lays out 11 instances of possible obstruction of justice, indicating President Trump was thwarted by aides like White House counsel Don McGahn, who refused to follow his directives.
Do you believe Don McGahn when he says the president tried to get him to fire Bob Mueller?
I believe the president was frustrated about the investigation from the very beginning and knew it was ill-conceived.
And CBN News Washington correspondent Amber Strong joins us now. She's following this story for us from our Washington bureau. So, Amber, what else is the president's team saying about this charge of obstruction of justice?
Hey, Ephraim. Yeah, so President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, kind of made the rounds yesterday to several talk shows. And he said when it comes to obstruction of justice, he lays out the case that Mueller's team was corrupt from the beginning, that it was full of all these biased people who hated the president. And then he tries to draw a parallel between President Clinton and Ken Starr, who was an independent counsel, and Robert Mueller. He says Robert Mueller was special counsel that was appointed by the DOJ. The DOJ falls under the umbrella of the president, and he says even if Trump wanted to fire him, he had every right to fire him because the DOJ follows under his jurisdiction.
And what are Democrats saying?
Democrats, you see people like Jerry Nadler, who's already subpoenaed for the, subpoenaed for the unredacted report. He's also saying that he wants to hear from people like Attorney General Barr. He wants to hear from Mueller himself. And he wants to hear from Don McGahn because people like Rudy Giuliani are saying Don McGahn has changed his story several times and that he isn't trustworthy. And so Nadler wants to hear more from them. And then you have more, I would say, the older sage people on Washington, like Elijah Cummings, saying it's not time to go for impeachment yet. We need to investigate. We need to learn more. But then you have other people who are saying Elizabeth Warren, Julian Castro, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who say the time to impeach was yesterday. We need to go ahead and move forward with these impeachment proceedings. The interesting thing about this idea is that Democrats are nervous. They're nervous because they've seen this before. They saw this with President Clinton in the 90s when the shoe was on the other foot and Republicans pursued impeachment. And it did not go well for Republicans because the public opinion. And so this is what some Democrats are worried about, is that they do not have the court of public opinion. Beyond not having public opinion, they don't have the votes in the Senate. So it's kind of a lose-lose for some of the Democrats who are, I won't say older and wiser, but who've seen this and have been there before.
All right, we'll still keep watching. Thank you so much, Amber.
Thank you, Ephraim.
An horrific Easter Sunday massacre has killed almost 300 people in Sri Lanka. Its health minister says 7 bombers linked to the attacks on churches and luxury hotels were all Sri Lankan citizens. Police say the 6 near-simultaneous attacks on 3 Catholic churches and 3 hotels around the city of Colombo were carried out by 7 suicide bombers. Inside the churches, devastation. The blasts hit during Sunday Mass. Church pews were left shattered. Debris strewn everywhere, and blood was splattered on a statue of Jesus. This morning, the Archbishop of Colombo was demanding justice.
Find out who is responsible behind this act, and also to punish them mercilessly, because only animals can behave like that.
A government official says a local Muslim terrorist group called National Tawfiq Jamaat is responsible.
This is a very cowardly attack at a time when, innocent people would be worshipping God on a auspicious day such as Easter Sunday.
More than 30 foreigners were killed in the deadly blast, including several Americans. President Donald Trump sent his condolences through Twitter, writing, "We stand ready to help." Officials say 24 suspects are in custody for questioning. The Secretary of State is expected to announce America will not renew sanction waivers for 5 countries that receive oil from Iran. The U.S. issued the waivers to Japan, South Korea, Turkey, China, and India, and they expire May 2nd. At that time, those nations will no longer be exempt from the U.S. sanctions if they're still importing oil from Iran. It is not immediately clear if any of these 5 nations will be given extra time to wind down their purchases. I want to turn now to criminal justice reform. It's one of the few issues where leaders can find some common ground. It's even caused one of America's leading pastors to reach out to a rather large company in search of jobs for those fresh out of prison. John Jessup traveled to Texas to see this pilot program firsthand.
On the surface, they may seem like two groups society today says don't have much to do with one another, but this event proves them wrong, putting the church right alongside corporations with a challenge to transform communities and change lives. Here's a little bit of the conversation with AT&T CEO Randall Stevenson and pastor of the Potter's House, Bishop T.D. Jakes.
When the floods came in Houston, we were there. In Haiti, we were there. In South America, we were there. You'd be surprised what a bunch of church folk can do.
I would like to see many of my peers and leaders in the business community that are in this room walk out of here and go, you know what, it shouldn't be taboo to interact with the faith-based community and figure out how we can make a difference in our communities by working together.
Now, this luncheon highlighted how critically important it is to offer second chances to ex-offenders like Chantel Traylor, who is involved in AT&T's pilot program.
A lot of people believe that once you make a mistake, that's it. But to know that somebody knew that that was just what it was, a mistake, and to say, okay, I'm gonna give you another chance to get it right. And here I am again today saying I am a success story. I made it.
The goal of this program is to encourage business, government, community, and faith leaders to be the bridge to offer second chances and to replicate this program across the country. John Jessup, CBN News, Dallas, Texas.
The immigration crisis is a daily personal challenge for agents on the border. They're overwhelmed by the flood of migrants from Central America. Some are forced to leave their posts to care for families and unaccompanied children. CBN's Heather Sells traveled to San Diego to see what's happening.
If President Trump gets his way, the entire 2,000-mile border with Mexico would look like this, clearly marked with a barrier that makes it difficult to cross while allowing agents to see through.
We're here in the San Diego sector where they have just put up a new wall, which is a vast improvement. It's 18 feet high compared to the old wall, which was 6 feet.
San Diego Border Patrol Chief Rodney Scott says the new wall helps secure the border more efficiently than ever before.
We've proven that the wall system works here. It wasn't overly political a few years ago. It was just right and wrong, makes sense.
The new structure stretches from the Pacific to the base of the Otay Mountains, and it's actually two, a primary and secondary fence with a law enforcement zone in between. It's an upgrade on multiple fronts, say agents. The older wall, which hasn't been completely replaced, was built from Vietnam-era landing mats. It blocks agents' vision, preventing them from spotting illegal crossers on the Mexico side. Agent Fabian Carbajal says it's been a problem for years.
They would stage 20 people at a time, wait for our vehicles to go through. Somebody would jump over with a power saw, run to our secondary wall and just breach it, make a hole through it, would run back, stage back in Mexico, and just wait and see if the Border Patrol would respond. And then the group would go through and make it north.
Chief Scott doesn't pretend the new wall can't be beaten. That's not the point. He's happy that it simply makes it more difficult for illegal immigrants to sneak across. By slowing them down, Scott can spread out his agents, creating a human barrier that saves time and money, while also boosting morale.
Where we've put that in place, we were able to increase our effectiveness from about 10% to over 95%. And more importantly, we were able to pull 150 agents out of that area and then redeploy them to other parts of the border.
But Scott still faces big challenges.
Despite the sections of new wall, there's stretches of absolutely no wall. This is where it starts in the San Diego sector just north of Tijuana.
It's part of what makes this a security nightmare. More than half of the entire southern border has no fencing. In the San Diego sector alone, agents must patrol around 17 miles with absolutely no barrier. Even the animals are unafraid. The day we visited, we spotted a small group of sheep and goats roaming freely back and forth in the area where the wall ends and the open border begins. Agents do their best to secure the area. They patrol on horseback or ATVs and use technology like underground sensors. But they're also up against open spaces with no electricity and no cell coverage. Scott says even locals often don't understand what's at stake.
They don't realize less than 14 miles off the coast, we have no border fence whatsoever, and anything can cross through here. And if anybody thinks that the criminal organizations and the terrorist organizations and even nation-state countries aren't trying to exploit this crisis right now, they're fooling themselves.
On top of this, Scott is caught up in a border crisis that is depleting his force. Across the southwest border, nearly 4 in 10 agents are diverted daily to care for and transport immigrant families.
The last 24 hours, I had 140 agents taken out of patrol duties, and they're basically babysitting kids. They're at hospitals with sick aliens. They're processing, they're transporting, they're doing things other than patrolling the border. That's created huge vulnerabilities to where now our effectiveness is dropping.
Scott blames recent court rulings, which force him to release families within 20 days, for helping to create the border crisis. And he's looking to Washington to fix it. He also hopes Congress will see that for border agents, a wall isn't just politics. It's critical infrastructure that slows down illegal immigration, criminals, and anyone else not wanting to come through a port of entry, or what Scott calls our front door. Reporting on the San Diego border, Heather Sells, CBN News.
The number of Democratic presidential candidates continues to climb. Congressman Seth Moulton is the latest to enter the crowded field, and there are reports Joe Biden will announce his run Wednesday. Those in the race may want to look to the Trump campaign to figure out how he beat 16 Republican rivals and Hillary Clinton to take the presidency in 2016. CBN's Paul Strand talked with one historian who says he may know why and how it could happen again in 2020.
Donald Trump may have been a New York real estate tycoon, but he aimed his campaign right here at flyover country, these vast red state regions of America that the deep state and the coastal elites seem to sometimes deplore. Author Victor Davis Hanson suggests in The Case for Trump that these so-called deplorables saw the billionaire brawler as a breath of fresh air.
He was not going to take anything from the media or from the politicals. So what the mainstream media saw as uncouth or crass or crude, they thought maybe so, but it's going to shock you and kill you before it kills us.
When it came down to choosing, he says voters saw clear differences.
It was a Manichaean choice between 16 years of Obama and Hillary Clinton. And it may be that way in 2020. They may feel that all there is between them and socialism is Donald Trump.
Hanson adds that opposing candidates thus far are moving toward extreme positions.
Reparations, basically infanticide is abortion, the new Green Deal, a 90%, 70% upper income tax bracket, a wealth tax, demolishing the wall, abolishing ICE, a foreign policy that looks favorably on Venezuela.
Hanson realizes Trump's combative style can be a turnoff for some, but what some call Trump derangement syndrome is causing his opponents to also look bad.
Joe Biden wants to take Trump out behind the gym and beat him up. Johnny Depp is talking about where's John Wilkes Booth again? And they see Kathy Griffin holding up Trump's head, or Robert De Niro saying that he wants to punch him.
Hanson predicts Americans will look past all the incivility and pick Trump again, depending on 2 factors, prosperity and peace.
And what will be the economy? If we're growing at 3% and unemployment is at 4% or below, he's in pretty good shape, and if he avoids a war overseas. Any of those 3 things will, I think, ensure his election.
Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from farm country out in the state of Indiana.
Coming up, a look at what could be the latest health scare, an antibiotic-resistant fungus. Stay with us.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
No Super Falls, man. Come.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Discover the I wills of God. I will rescue him, protect him, answer him, be with him in trouble, deliver him, honor him, satisfy him with long life, show him my salvation.
What I felt was loved and treasured.
God spared my life twice in 3 days.
The good Lord had given me a second chance.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit CBN.com. The I wills of God, the latest teaching from Pat Robertson.
The America's medical community is worrying about a superbug spreading in the United States. Health reporter Lori Johnson shows us a new fungal infection that actually can't be killed by even our best medicines.
We found out the hard way that the overuse of antibiotics can lead to drug-resistant infections. Now, scientists are questioning whether we're seeing the same result from the growth of antifungals, like the kind used to treat fruits and vegetables. You're looking at Candida auris, a fungus or yeast deemed by the CDC as an urgent threat because antifungal drugs that fight yeast infections are failing to kill it. Most of the roughly 600 cases in the U.S. are in New York, New Jersey, and Chicago, found in nursing homes and hospitals, typically striking patients with weakened immune systems. Dr. William Lee says physicians nationwide are on high alert because little is known about C. auris.
We need to figure out what it is, why it's resistant, and how to contain it.
In his new book, Eat to Beat Disease, Dr. Lee explains the best foods that strengthen our body's defenses. He says not having enough good bacteria in our gut can lead to infection, but we can turn that around.
In general, we do know that when our healthy microbiome, which is the bacteria inside our body, is functioning properly, those bacteria, our healthy bacteria, boost our immune system, our immune defenses, which allows us to fend off attacks from the outside more easily.
Still ahead, one mother's battle to protect children in the culture war over gender identity.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
I think as a father, it's my job, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Superbook fans, here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
The Millsburg Falls man coming.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Discover the I wills of God. I will rescue him, protect him, answer him, be with him in trouble, deliver him, honor him, satisfy him with long life, show him my salvation.
What I felt was loved and treasured.
God spared my life twice in 3 days.
The good Lord had given me a second chance.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit CBN.com. The I wills of God, the latest teaching from Pat Robertson.
New Jersey is now the second state to mandate its students learn LGBT history. California is the first. The New Jersey law requires teachers instruct middle and high school students about the social, political, and economic contributions of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgendered people. A group of parents oppose the law and plan to hold a protest rally at the State House next weekend. They're calling the rally Man and Woman Up for Christ. Heather Sells spoke with one of those organizing parents.
So I understand that you have planned a rally at the state capitol to oppose this new law. What are your concerns with it?
Yes, we plan a rally on April 27th at the State House. We have concerns about the LGBT history, the whole agenda being pushed on our children. And we want to make parents aware that we need to have the opportunity to opt out of something like this. Our children are being inundated with gender ideology and the LGBT agenda.
And so there's no opt-out provision in the bill?
No.
So is that the goal of the rally then, to push for that opt-out provision, or what are you hoping will come of this?
Well, we're hoping, we have about 15 dynamic speakers and leaders, and we want the public to join us in getting this word out to Murphy that this is not acceptable, that parents have a right to decide what their kids will be learning in schools.
Crystal, I know that you are the parent of a child who has struggled with this issue of transgender, and it's a personal issue for us. How have you found the education system in the state going against your goals as a parent?
Yes, well, the state takes it upon themselves to bring the LGBTQ curriculum to our students, reading books about being born in the wrong body as young as age 6. My son never showed any signs of distress over who he was his entire childhood up until when he was 19 and got involved with a different group of people in college. Then all of a sudden he tells me that he is transgender. So this and the colleges promote this. They use the affirmation path. The college campus therapist tells me that because the laws in New Jersey, the New Jersey conversion therapy law, doesn't allow them to help someone feel comfortable in their body, they send them down this path of transition. So our kids are going off to college and coming back as someone different.
I know that there's other parents who are concerned about this that will be at the rally, and I know that you think that all of this LGBT history law and what your son has experienced all combines to really promote a certain worldview. So we'll definitely be watching what's going on. And Crystal Lopez, thanks for your time right now.
Thank you.
Coming up, how Superbook is helping build the next generation of believers in Thailand.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, you know, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
Millsburg Falls man coming.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Discover the I wills of God. I will rescue him, protect him, answer him, be with him in trouble, deliver him, honor him, satisfy him with long life, show him my salvation.
What I felt was loved and treasured.
God spared my life twice in 3 days.
The good Lord had given me a second chance.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit CBN.com. The I wills of God, the latest teaching from Pat Robertson.
And welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. CBN is teaching English and the Bible to students in Thailand. Recently, the Superbook team partnered with a Baptist Student Center for a camp in Bangkok. There were fun activities sharing about God's creation and the redemption of Christ, as well as English lessons. Many children raised their hands wanting to know more about Christ. This is the first time the Thailand team had the opportunity to share with a large group of non-believing children. Now, you can always find more about what CBN is doing around the world by going to cbn.com/international. Right now, it is time for your Monday Motivation, and I'd like to leave you with this message. Guess what? Today will show up tomorrow. What does that mean? You are actually sowing the seeds of your future today. It is a great day to sow wisely and to sow generously, because you are indeed going to reap exactly what you sow. With that word, I encourage you to make today, Monday, a marvelous Monday indeed. That will do it for this first edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can watch CBN News programs at any time on the CBN News channel. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that by emailing us. The email address is newswatch@cbn.com. And you can reach out and touch us anytime on Facebook, on Twitter, as well as Instagram. This concludes this newscast, but the news does continue 24/7 at cbnnews.com. Certainly hope you'll join us again right here again next time. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.